I know that's not why we're here.
No, but it's
I find
tremendous.
it to be fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, that conversation was so interesting. I recorded the whole thing.
So good. Well,
perfect.
maybe you can just be like, in today's episode, we're gonna.
And stay for the after
AI
show.
Yeah.
And the future of society.
Yeah.
Hands in the air, let the rhythm flow. Ooh, let it flow. Together we rise, let the good vibes grow. Community conversations, yeah. Keep it alive.
321 Media and the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce are here for Community Conversations. We're at the United Theater with Carly Callahan, the Executive Director of the theater. Hi.
Hi, Bruce.
Great to see you.
Great to see
Always
you.
great to see
Thank
you.
you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Being on one of our first shows.
Fantastic.
So basically, we'll jump right into it.
Yep.
You are the Executive Director here at the United.
I am.
Can you talk a little bit about, I want to go a little bit backwards. So,
Sure.
your journey here, how you got to the United specifically.
Yes. So I will have been at the United as of November of 25 for 3 years. Before that, I was managing director at Seaview Productions, which is a Broadway producing film and television company in New York, and absolutely loved my work there. Loved it. And certainly was not looking for a job. But as serendipity and luck would have it, my dad actually had a conversation with Dick Holliday over a lunch now almost, 3.5 years ago. And the conversation turned, as it always does in these types of lunches, to kids and what
Right.
they do and everything else. And Dick Holliday said to my dad, you know, you really should have Carly send me her resume. Because there's this place called the United in Westerly, Rhode Island, that is looking for an executive director, and I think there might be a good fit. And at the time I was out in La Jolla working on a project we had coming to Broadway, and my dad called me and said, you know, pass along your resume. And I said, Dad, I don't have a resume.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm not looking for a job.
Yeah.
And, you know, dads sometimes have this kind of sense of, that kind of transcends logic, and he kept on hounding me. He would not let it go. And we had just hired this fantastic assistant that had just come out of Harvard, like superstar. And to get my dad off my back, I did a save as of her resume, put in my information, and looked it over, you know, for 10 minutes. I mean, really a not great effort, but it was the correct information.
And it was almost starting out like as a favor, right?
Yes,
Like it was like,
yes. It was like, and really just to kind of satisfy my dad and get him off my back. And I love him to death, but he was a dog with a bone with this. And so I sent it along to my dad, who sent it to Dick Holliday, who sent it to Chuck Royce, and not, 2 hours later, I had an email in my inbox with a subject line of something along the lines of "Let's talk."
Yeah.
And my awareness with this area, I grew up in Simsbury, Connecticut. We had a boat, which makes us sound fancier than we actually were.
Right.
But we had a sailboat at Dotson Boatyard in Stonington for most of my childhood. And so many of my weekends, especially in the summer months, were spent, we'd pack the car, go down to Dotson's, load everything into the boat, and go on our big cruise every weekend, which was basically going out of Stonington Harbor, taking a left and taking another left into Napatree, and anchoring, and invariably dragging in the middle of the night. And it was like bumper cars of sailboats, but spending our weekends in that part of the world. So I knew the ocean house of the ocean house when it was kind of dark and creaky and cats and a fire hazard and all of the things. And Napatree and a little bit of Westerly, and of course very, very much Mystic and Stonington and everything else. So when I eventually came up here to meet Chuck in person, I had this moment of incredible cognitive dissonance where I was like, what is going on in this area? Because I do not remember Westerly being anything like this. And of course, Mystic too had just had this incredible evolution, and I was really interested in understanding the people behind it, the idea behind it, and everything else. And the United was this sandbox of a space that had been a vaudeville theater, and then a movie theater, and then went dark, and they had created this 33,000 square foot arts complex that had a school underneath it. And I just was like, I need to learn more about this. And that's what I did. And that led to making the jump from New York with an aching heart, really, because I loved the work that I was doing, and I still love the company, and I still want to support all of that piece. And I certainly miss being in the Broadway ecosystem on a daily basis, but I try to get in as much as I can. But I like to say I moved from a job to a vocation. And my vocation here is trying to bring to life and realize the kind of original idea that Chuck and the people around him had believed in many, many moons ago.
And it's amazing, like, what has gone on in Mystic and over here in Westerly in the last 3 or 4, like, post-COVID. And so when you were figuring out to take this job and you were learning about it and you were meeting with Chuck, what was the one or two things that you saw as an opportunity, or what drove you to be like, I'm going to drop it all?
This is what I want to do. Well, going back in my own career journey a little farther, before I was in the producing space of commercial theater, I was also a performer. And I had the opportunity to go out on tour with Victor Victoria. And it was a bus and truck tour, which means that instead of the A cities, you're in the B cities. You're not in Hartford, you're in Springfield, et cetera. And I was on the road with Victor Victoria for 13 months, played 300 and something performances, hit pretty much every state in the country, a lot of Canada. And I got to see what towns in this country look like in real time. And what I mean by that is that, growing up in New England and Simsbury and coming down here, I just assumed that every area had a geographic center of gravity and a town that was vital and a community that had life to it and a unique identity. And what I saw when I was on tour, which was many, many moons ago, was the opposite of that. Towns that were shuttered, theaters that were holding on by just the tiniest little thread. These beautiful theaters with this beautiful architecture and history and provenance. But so many of these towns had deteriorated into spaces that were, as I said, hanging on by a thread. Their character was lost, and we were always out 5-10 minutes outside of the town, where we were staying at, like, a Holiday Inn with the Chili's and the Walmart and whatever, completely devoid of character. And that was a formative period of time for me for many reasons. I realized that maybe I didn't want to be a performer professionally forever, but also recognizing how fragile and how important it is to have communities that have an identity and a vitality, and why that, I think, is critical to not just community health, but individual health. And so when I came up here, I was like, wow, Westerly was that town that was hanging by a thread in terms of having vibrancy downtown, having places for people to come together. But Westerly, Mystic, figured it out, right? And is figuring it out, and recognize that you need a theater, you need restaurants, you need bookstores, you need parks, you need public spaces, you need a place to catalyze conversation and hold that conversation. You need events that bring people together and have them recognize kind of the uniqueness of a community's DNA and be able to celebrate that. So that's what I saw. And it was like those many, many moons ago when I was wandering around the country in the bus and seeing over and over and over again what happens when you don't have people who invest in community. I came up here, I saw that, and I said, if there's something that I personally can do to support that and further that, then I want to do it. Because I don't want to live in that world where it's just Chili's and Walmart's and whatever. I mean, and those are important in their own way. Of course. But like seeing what was happening here was inspiring and somewhat of a relief. And I thought, you know what, this is why this makes sense for me to make this move.
Well, I think there's like injections of adrenaline. Like there's different, and you're an injection. Like I think that what's gone on around here and how you've like taken what the community offers and woven it into the theater. Can you like even like the what's the awards? The
the Westies.
And Yeah.
And right. I mean, well, you're an injection too, by the way, and the work that you're doing, I consider to be, there's so many injectors.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that, the Einstein quote of that coincidence is God's way of being discreet, I think it rings true for this community in general, and how this community has, whether it's luck or strategy, has attracted people to it that want to bring it to life and revitalize it, and then give it new sources of energy. But the Westies is a great example of celebrating the incredible work of so many nonprofit organizations in this area, in the cultural space and beyond.
Yeah.
With the Westies, it's the wonderful Granite and the wonderful course of Westerly, and making sure that the people who are kind of behind the scenes and making those organizations come to life in terms of donations, in terms of human effort, are celebrated. We have an abundance of riches in this community where that awards, like, we could do that every other month.
Sure.
Right? Because there are so many individuals and organizations that are investing in the community. And then, like, what we're trying to do at the United is have a national resonance in terms of programs like Nashville North, where we're creating a pipeline between country music
which is
and
an
Nashville and all
incredible
that.
relationship.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we're so excited about it. But also things like our Soupy series, where Tony Nunes, our wonderful artistic director, said early on in my tenure, I've always wanted to do something with Soupy, which for those that aren't aware of what Soupy is sopressata, the Calabrian Italian tradition that lives so vibrantly in Westerly, where in January, people are making Soupy in their basement with their family recipe. They're hanging it, and it comes out around Easter after it's been cured.
Yeah.
And people's passion for that story and the stories of their families and why their Soupy is the best Soupy. Like, we're giving that a stage, literally a stage. Also, providing a dimensionality to their stories. We had documentary films, comedians, music, Soupy tastings, cocktails, all the things. And it's an example of how I think we as human beings are hungry to understand where we're from, who we are, where we're going. And if I had to, really distill what's magic about our collective community, is that there is a connection in so many ways that we can connect with one another and our history and our commerce and the opportunity and new people that are coming in, entrepreneurs who are saying, I want to make this home.
Right.
And so we're so lucky. If we are investing in one another, amplifying one another, spreading the support, the entirety of the community is elevated. So, that is the posture that I think in some ways I was lucky to come into this role, not being clouded by any of that mentality of my people, my organization. It's like, it's us, it's we. And I'm here with my family investing in the entirety of the community.
So tell me this, to end on this note.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like to do around here? Like, outside of the United, where's your go-to?
Stonington is always going to feel like, and Mystic is always going to feel like home, because it like taps into all of those core childhood memories. And there was a candy store in the borough, I think it was called M's. And my brothers and I would collect loose change from the docks and from the chart table on our little sailboat. And we'd go into M's and buy like 23 cents worth of jelly beans. And we'd go after the crabs on the dock and everything. So going to Stonington is just like taps into this deep kind of yearning for all of that. I love, of course, to be on the beach, not in the sense of sitting on the beach in a bathing suit and doing that kind of thing, but just like walking the dog and just being amongst all of that. That's fantastic. And the park, every day I go through that park. I'm so proud to serve on the board of the YMCA, the Ocean Community YMCA. And my morning is running through the park, going to the Y, doing my thing, going back home. We have a house on Elm Street, which I absolutely love. And just that kind of that cadence of life is just so nurturing. It's like, it's being outside, being in community, saying hi to the same folks day after day. It's really, really quite fantastic. So Those would have to be my favorites. But I just think overall, I'm so obsessively fascinated by all that's happening in this community, and I can't keep up with it. Yeah. And what a gift that is.
I think that we both have what gets you up in the morning, right? It's like the drive to continue to grow and make everything happen is what gets you up every day.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Love it. Well, we'll end on that note. I think we probably could do a part 2 at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
It was great. I'm Bruce Flax. I'm with Carly Callahan, and this is Community Conversations.
Thanks so much, Bruce.
Thank you.